Hey Titania, good morning. And it shows that I have a lot of viewers this morning, which is great. Sometimes it does not show me who actually joined me. So looked like that was Latoya Craddock because I seen the like and it shows like when it gives thumbs up or it get hard, sometimes it does show your picture, your profile picture. So some profile pictures I'm used to from people commenting and liking my statuses. So I think that was you. So good morning to you if it was. Sometimes it does not show me who joined, but it does show that I have people with me. So if you are here and I didn't say good morning or acknowledge you, if you would say something, hey, good morning, hi, happy Tuesday, whatever it is, I would know that you're with me and I'll be happy to go ahead and say good morning back to you. I want to thank everyone who is joining me this morning from Periscope. Unfortunately, I did not have two devices to use this morning. I tried to do Periscope and Facebook Live. I do have a larger audience on Facebook, but there are faithful people who join me every week on Periscope. So with that being said, I went on an hour early on Periscope this morning. I asked you all who are on Periscope, hey, Cheryl Craddock, I did see your like or your thumbs up, so thank you. I went on Periscope at 8 o'clock this morning to ask those who are on Periscope if they would just join me on Facebook. And if they were not friends with me on Facebook, send me some requests. I think I do still have room available to accept some friend requests. And I did get a few this morning. So hopefully those people are on with me. I told them that I would go ahead and accept the request before I started at 9 o'clock. Hey, Cole. And this is for you, Cole. Even though you are not a mom, you have nieces, and I believe you have a nephew. Yes, niece and nephew. And then even if you're going to be a mom, let me get this camera set up and turned around. Hold on one second. I actually had it on my website, so you all know that I actually do exist outside of social media. And I'm going to start pulling away just a little bit in regards to social media. So I do all want to let you know that I do have this website and TramikaCraddock.com. Anything that I'm doing, I actually need to add some information about wife-mom-preneur as well as She Networks on my website so that this can be a database of all the information because there's some people who don't have Facebook at all. Some people who don't like Facebook, and that's for some of my people that I know that is older. For example, my mom, yes, I did call her older. She's older. She does not like Facebook, so she does join me on Periscope, but for whatever reason, if I'm not able to get on a Facebook Live or a Periscope, you all should know directly where to go to get any information that I'm sharing in regards to topics. And again, that's my website, TramikaCraddock.com. So hold on one second, let me get this camera turned around here. Hopefully I'm not crooked and you all can see me good today. Hopefully you all can see me. Look, I don't want that to show. Okay, so hopefully you can see me. Can somebody let me know, make sure the camera is good? Thank you, Titania, because I know that I was having some issues with the camera. For whatever reason, it was not turning. So thank you so much for joining me for Topic Tuesday. For those of you who do not know me, I am Tramika Craddock. It's good, thank you. Success strategist. I provide strategies and tools, in particular to the wife-mom-preneur, whether you fit into any category of that, wife, mother, or entrepreneur, or if you're aspiring in any category to that. What I do specifically is I provide strategies and tools to live a more organized and balanced life through planning. I am a planning queen. That needs to be like my new tag name. I'm a planning queen. So my other coaching is what I do on that side to help people, again, to live more organized and balanced lives through planning. My other business is I'm an actual event planner. So I live, eat, breathe, sleep, everything about planning. I love planning. I'm a big planner. So on my event planning side and with event consulting, what I do is I do corporate events, small social gatherings. I do networking events, empowerment events. product launches, grand openings, anything along those lines. For a full list of those details, if you have an event that you have coming up or you need assistance with an event, I love working with nonprofit organizations, etc., etc., etc. You can find a full list of those events that I have experience doing on my website at tramikacraddock.com. So if you go to my website, there's two different links. You have the coaching and then you have the event planning. Just click on either tab, whatever you're interested in, and you can see more information about who I am, what I stand for, and what I do and what I can do for you. So with coaching, my ideal client is, again, in one of those categories, wife, mom, or entrepreneur. It may be a wife who is having an issue in her marriage and want her marriage to work. I come in, I provide strategies to help her get success in that area. It can be something with motherhood. Just coming in, hey Andrea, providing strategies for success in that particular area, or entrepreneurship. And whether you're aspiring in any of these areas as well, starting up the business, pushing the business forward, just coming in to provide strategies in that particular area as well. One thing I love about success is up to you. Hey boo, thanks for joining me. Success is up to you. Success is what you define it as. So when I say I'm a success strategist, that's not necessarily I'm here to help all the entrepreneurs make all the money in the world. I'm not here to make you be the best trophy wife out there in the world or for other people to see. No, it's whatever you define success as in your life. So that's what I do. Hey Esther, thank you for joining me. So that's what I do pretty much as a success strategist. And again, I love that the success is determined by my clients. So when you come to me and you say, hey, this is the issue, this is what I need you to help out with, we come up with strategic plans and tools. Like I told you, I'm a planner. I believe if you plan ahead, you'll plan for success. Success is up to you. That's good. Yes, that's what I believe, Titania. If you plan ahead, you plan for success. Whatever you're doing in life, we have to have some type of target, something that we're going for, the bigger picture, and then we have to have some type of plan to get there, because we can't just say, okay, well, the target is for me to have $1 million company, and I have no plan whatsoever to get there. I'm not going to wake up a millionaire with $1 million company the next day, right? I want to have a loving, successful marriage. I don't just wake up and it happens. So you have to have particular plans and strategies in place to be able to get to that place. So what I do, again, as a success strategist, I help you come up with those strategies and different tools. And what works for somebody may not work for someone else. So, and then your plan that we come up with the first time may not work. We may have to go to a plan B or C. Hey, Missy. So that's what I do as your coach, is I help you to come up with the plan and keep you accountable to the plan. And if we need to change the strategy around, then that's what I do. A lot of people ask me what's my ideal client, so I wanted to go over that information so you know. You may, when you see my posts or things of that nature, may not know if I was the coach for you. So that's an ideal client that I would have. Really, coaching is about keeping people accountable. Keeping people accountable, helping people think outside of the box with things they may not particularly think of. So that's what coaching is all about. So that's enough about me. I went to a conference, a women's conference, on Saturday by Aisha Ferguson. She is a member of my church. It was a great conference. Aisha, if you see this, or anybody that is watching that talks to her, and I've already told her more than once, I can really tell that she prayed about the conference and gave much thought to the conference, because it was executed very well. And for me, with that being something that I would like to do in the future, it was very encouraging to see how everything was just laid out and executed. So kudos to her. I took 2 classes. One was building an empire. The other one was preparing your child to succeed. So that's where I want to come from today. I want to go over just a little bit of the information that I learned over the weekend, and then I want to put my own little 2 cents on it. So I really hope that this helps. Like I said, it's not just for mothers. It's for people who desire to be a mother or know that's in your future. So if you don't have kids, if you have young kids, if you have middle-aged kids, if you have grown kids that are in college, it does not matter. It's never too late to do these things for your children. The earlier you start, the better, of course, but it's definitely never too late. If you are an aunt, if you're an uncle, grandparent, godmother, whatever it may be, if you have children around you, if you work with children in ministry, these are things that you will be able to apply to those particular relationships. So I hope everyone is joining me. Again, if you don't have children, it's not necessarily just for that particular person. So I talk about this all the time, the wife-mom-preneur. That's what I stand for. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and an entrepreneur. You may not fit into all categories of that. So sometimes when I come on, or if I have events, or if I have seminars, it's going to pertain to one of those areas, because that's where I'm an expert at, right? Because I am in all three areas. So today we're coming from the area of mom, that middle part, a mother. So these are some of the things I want to share with you. I want to give her kudos first. The facilitator was Careshia Scott Moore, and I hope that I'm pronouncing it right. And I did tell her that I was going to shout her out on my Topic Tuesday today, and again go over some of the information she has. So just so y'all see, hope y'all can see that good, follow her on Instagram and on Facebook. She is an education guru, and she will be able to help you out. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe she said in her class that sometimes she do come on, share as a parent, and just from an educational standpoint, which I believe education is so important. And unfortunately, these public school districts, they're failing our kids right now. We tried an alternative. We're trying charter schools, and you know, it's just not always 100%. So my husband and I always, especially my husband, always talks about how it has to start at home. So that's why I want to share some of those things today. It has to start at home, and then whatever they learn in school, we have to be able to take it beyond. So that's my own little 2 cents. So everyone knows how passionate me and my husband is about seeing our kids' success. They're very ambitious kids. I won't go into detail about my children today. I have a 6, 9, and 12-year-old, soon to be 13, teenager. Y'all help me, pray for me. But they're very ambitious, and most times I thank God that He even allowed us to be their parents, because they're so gifted and so talented. One of the things that Careshia talked about in the class is, you know, all kids are not just born with all these gifts and talents. We have to mold them. We have to deliberately mold them into successful children. And again, whatever that success looks like for your family or for your particular child. So that's where I'm coming from today. I was so excited, y'all, on Saturday, because again, we are very passionate about pushing our kids and their ambitious kids. So I went to this class to see if I can get more strategies and tools. One thing that I was happy about, hey Sherilyn, is I did, from some of the stuff she shared, I was able to see that I'm pretty much online with some of the stuff as far as me and my husband as parents, but she did share some additional strategies and tools. So I want to go over those things with you today. So it was called Preparing Your Child to Compete to Succeed. And one of the things she talked about is our children are not just competing with the people that are in their class. They're not just competing with the people that are in their school. This particular generation, they're competing globally. So we must as parents set them up for success. Let's see here. I'm looking at my notes. So this was one of the papers that she gave us. I don't know if you can see it, and I'm going to quickly go over this. I wrote down notes. What I did when I was in class, I wrote down, as she went over a particular thing, I wrote exactly how it could apply to my child. So I don't know if you're sitting in front of me with a pen or a paper. If not, grab one real quick as I run through these things. Even if you go back and watch the video, watch the replay, talk about, hey, Claudia, I want you to actually write down and work through some of this stuff of what you can do in your child's life to be able to have this particular outcome. So one of the first things that she talked about is we have to train them on how they think. And that's deeper than what people think. I don't know. Hey, look, I don't know if on a basic level or the first layer of that, if you all understand exactly what she means in regards to how they think. Not saying control how they think, especially, and I say that when I talk about like the 13 and the 16 and the 18-year-olds. You can't necessarily control how they think, but you can guide them so that they have certain principles in things in life so that their thinking will change or be in a certain category. So some of the things that I wrote down was spiritual values, and that was some of the stuff that she talked about. if we have particular values and morals as parents, we need to be sure that not only us as parents are having this way of thinking, but we're actually pushing that on or passing it on to our children as well. For example, a lot of this generation, they always think about now, and they don't think about things in the future or their future. We need to start molding their thinking even now at a young age to be able to think about their future. An example she gave in class is, your child may want a video game, and you may say, well, you could spend a little bit now on something else than spending hundreds of dollars on a video game, or $100 or however much it costs. I know they're expensive. You may want to think of something else that you can do now with a little bit. That way you're saving a lot or the majority for your future. So molding the way they think as far as that, if you have a value that prayer is very important to you, these are the type of things that we need to be passing on to our children. Just our morals, our values. It's not enough just to, let me say this, I'm not saying that it's not good, but it's not enough just to demonstrate these things. My child sees me praising in church. My child sees me praying in church. My child sees that I give tithes, and I'm just dealing with spiritual stuff. My child sees that I allow people to come into my home and live with me, so I'm sharing my space. My child sees that I give back to the poor. It's not enough just to demonstrate those things. We have to be able to explain why we're doing these things, because then it will mold their thinking. And I'm kind of going back and forth. I'm saying what she said and I'm adding a little bit of my own, but I don't want to take credit for what she actually taught in the class. So it's not enough just to demonstrate it. Yes, demonstrate it, because we are living examples, but sometimes we have to explain to our children why these things are important and why we do the things that we do, and help them on their level. They may not be able to go to or pay tithes. That's a good example. If they don't work a job, they may not be able to pay tithes, but we need to explain to them on their level when they receive money or they receive, certain increases. If they have allowance, explain to them on their level. They may not be able to go to the open house shelter and donate their time there. Hey, Ayana. So explain to them on their level, what can they do for their teacher? What can they do for their friends in their classrooms? What can they do for the neighbor? So not just demonstrating it, but actually explaining it and helping them to actually apply it to where they're at, no matter what the age is. So that was the number one thing. She talked about also thinking about people other than themselves. So again, I have my middle child, our middle child, she's 9, she loves sneakers. My older daughter, she's into all these electronics and shopping and things of that nature. My son, he just wants whatever he sees on the infomercial. So telling them and explaining to them that it's not all about our wants and desires. Sometimes we have to be able to help other people. That's a good mindset for your child to be into, to actually have, and then that will help them to be grateful for things. And these things pay off in the long run, because if you instill it in them now as children, they'll be able to carry on this mindset as adults, and it will help them in the long run. Okay, so the second thing she talked about is what they see, say, and hear, which I thought was really good. My middle daughter, she loves all the dancehall rap stuff. Now, of course, we don't let her listen to bad lyrics, but juju on that beat, whatever that is, I hear them talking about that. And I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that that's bad. And what I do in my household may not apply to others' households, what we do. So, hearing all the stuff, the music that they're listening to, especially when it comes to teenagers, it's like, oh, I'll give them their space. They have to be free. They have to, they're creative. They're artistic. They have to be able to express that. But as parents, it's our job to be able to mold them into successful human beings. Again, whatever that looks like in your household or in your family. So sometimes they may not need to listen to that rap music. Sometimes we may need to change the channel for what they actually see. I can say for us in our household, Nickelodeon has already, to me, been outrageous. It's not the same from when I grew up. Disney is starting to get a little there, so I'm very selective in what my children are exposed to through TV. Now, again, you can't shelter them. So, these conversations can go so deep. You can't shelter them from a lot of stuff. Some of the things that my kids learn, they learn from school. And I'm like, where did you hear that song? I don't listen to that station. How did you learn that song? How do you know the lyrics? And then, you know, you have kids that have their own devices, and she talked about that too, you know, with the cell phones and how we think that we can't limit what they can listen to and see and hear on their cell phones, but we can. And I'm a witness that, you know, if you need help putting some type of parameters or locks or parental controls on the cell phones, I can help you with that. So what they see saying here, and again, when I was in the class, I wrote down different things that I wanted my kids to partake in. So, you know, even at a young age, I don't care if they're 2, in your womb, 5, 10, 18. How about having them listen to financial gurus? And it may be boring to them. Like, I tell my kids to listen to stuff, and they like, this is boring, or watch stuff, and this is boring. And we may not think that they're getting it, but subliminally, they're getting the message. So I had talked about my husband when I came back from the class, listening to our kids, listening to more of financial gurus. It's not enough for them to ride in the car with us and hear it when we're in the car and they're listening to it. Anytime we ride with my husband, he's listening to Dave Ramsey, if you all don't know who he is. Our kids need to be able, instead of sitting down on that tablet, playing that little game, or on YouTube, looking up the dance videos, how about listening to Dave Ramsey? Taking 10, 15 minutes, you know, depending on the child's age. And again, they may not think that they're paying attention or that they're getting it, but subliminally, they are getting it. Thank you, y'all, saying y'all love it, and that is good. Thank you so much. It was so good to me because, again, we are so passionate about setting them up for success in life. And I just wanted to share with parents some of these things you may have thought of. Some of these things you may not have. Some of these things you may have thought, well, they'll be okay. For example, our oldest daughter, she go to school every day and she gets straight A's. Always the top of her class. It's still not enough. We're going to push her to her limit. It's still not enough. So just molding them. Again, she talked about all the time in the class, Careshia. It is our job as parents to mold them so that they can compete to succeed in this world. And y'all know how harsh and stuff this world is. Y'all know, depending on the color of your skin, yes, I'm going there, that it's a little bit harder for you to compete, especially as a black male. And I'm saying that because I have a black son. It's harder. It's harder to be able to compete. So as parents, we have to set them up for success. The next thing she talked about is what they do. And you know, you may have a child who want to play video games and stuff all the time, and that's fine. They can play their video games, but one of the things I talked about implementing in my house is I'm going to have, for the most part, let me just tell you just briefly what goes on in my house. They come home from school and they continue school. Whatever they have to study, whatever they're working on in school, we look on teacher websites, we get extra work from teachers. I give them homeschool work. And you may be thinking, well, dang, you don't give them a break. They might need a break too. And you're right, they might do need a break. And they get that on Friday nights when they get to stay up as long as they want and watch TV. And, you know, on the weekend, I've even implemented doing work. I don't care if it's 10 or 15 minutes. That 10 or 15 minutes is going to make a difference in their success for their life. I've seen it. I've seen the improvements with my children. Whatever it takes. So Monday through Thursday, we're not watching TV, or you know, depending on the week. But most times, we're not watching TV. They don't get to watch TV. They do work after work after work. And let me just say this. I do give them breaks to say, okay, well, you have free time, 10, 15 minutes to go do this, or a half an hour to go do this. But before you go to bed, my first grader, we going over these sight words. Before you go to bed, we going over this stuff for this social studies test. Before you go to bed, I need you to write a paragraph on what you read in that book. We have to be able to do these, go these extra mile and do these extra things to be able to set our kids up for success. So I may be having some moms today who say, I work, I can't do that. We have to find the time. Not saying that I don't have the time is not an excuse. I don't care how old your child is. If you don't have Monday through Friday, then do things on the weekend. If you don't have your weekend, then do things in the evening. Whatever it takes. If you have to lose sleep, we have to make sacrifices as parents, right? We have to be doing whatever we need to do to be able to set our kids up for success in life. So what they do, again, going back to, you know, if they're doing video games, you have to be able, and that was one of the things I want to talk about. I am going to start giving my kids a certain time during the week, whether it's an hour or whatever it may be, to do whatever they want. So if that's watching a particular TV show, but I'm still monitoring that, or whatever it may be. She used the example in the class, her daughter likes to paint. So whatever it may be. But academics is going to be important, and that's the majority of what we're going to work on during the week. And that's just how I set it up in my house. Your household may be different. If you need to come up with some different type of strategies, I'll be more than happy to help you with that. Upstairs in our loft, we have a table that has anything you need: notebooks, paper, pens, pencils, crayons, markers if they don't misplace it. And it's called our Craddock Success Corner. And that's where my kids do their homework at every evening. Whatever we study there, whatever. This is the corner that we come to so that we can go to a next place in life. And again, it might not work in your household, but this is what we have done. And those are some examples of what you can do if you're interested. The last thing she talked about is where they go. It's important for our kids to have extracurricular activities. Now, I do know that sometimes finances prevent us from doing so. Like for us, we have 3 kids, so that's expensive depending on how many kids you have. But there are lots of free programs that you can do. For example, Girl Scouts, and I know that you do have to pay an annual fee, but there's ways around some of that stuff. So if you do need to talk to me in regards to some different tools and strategies that you can take advantage of, some type of community engagement programs that you can take advantage of, feel free to reach out to me. For our kids, we like to do, they have to do something in the community, something extracurricular at school, and then in church. So those are the 3 areas that we like to expose them in and make sure that they are being consistent and working in those particular areas. Again, for your household, that may look different. So where they go, one of the big things that she talked about, I don't have my notes right in front of me, is we have to be able to create a group or a network for our kids. And this was the biggest thing that stuck out to me, because it's hard oftentimes, especially living in Atlanta. If you're here in Atlanta, things are so spread out. So you may have a friend that has kids the same age as your kids, but they may live an hour away. We have to deliberately be intentional about creating groups and networks for our kids, because there are certain people in the world who only allow their children to be engaged or take part in activities with certain kids. And some of y'all parents, I got y'all on here right now. For example, if a kid is bad and they cussing, I don't want my kids around them all the time, because they're going to eventually pick up on their habits, right? So we have to be intentional about creating groups and networks of kids. So whatever that looks like for you, wherever your kid is, that they need to be exposed because they're shy, or they're into science a lot, or they're into math, saying that it's trying to connect. I think I'm back on. They're into reading. Whatever that looks like, you need to be able, you as a parent, you need to be able to create a group or a network for your child. And this is something that my daughter did. I didn't even tell her to do. Our 9-year-old, our middle daughter, she created her own book club, and she's actually launching it on Sunday. She typed up her own permission slips. She wrote a letter to the principal to get permission to pass out permission slips at school. She typed up her own permission slips. Of course, I had to go in and say, hey, well, capitalize this, or this don't make sense. What does that, mean? What book are y'all reading? Like certain little things like that. But she had she had the audacity, or she had the right intentions, where she created a book club. She's creating her own network. But we don't always have kids who do that. I have my oldest daughter who's not really social at all. I tell people I gave up on her social life. So as parents, we have to be intentional about creating groups and networks so that our kids will have outlets, and so that they're exposed to other children who are on the same path as them. We need to connect with other parents who, I would love to connect with some parents here in Atlanta who feel the same way we feel as parents, that we're passionate about pushing our kids to the next level, no matter where they are in life. And I'm not saying that we just push them till they break down, but we know what's good for them, right? Because we're their parents, and that's why God gave them to us, so that we can take care of them as we see fit. For my son, I don't think it's a good homework session unless he cries. Y'all might think that's so mean, but I'm pushing you to the next level if you get so mad at me that you start crying. Almost every day, Monday through Thursday, this dude starts crying with me. But then I know I'm pushing you to your next place. That's when we really need